what's happening here is the 5070 Ti, when overclocked and pulling 320 watts, it can match a heavily undervolted 4090. Of course, this one 250 watts, this one 320 watts. So you pull more power, but dude, you're basically there. It's not a huge difference with a 4090, which is absolutely crazy to me coming from a 70 Ti class product from the next generation. All right, so this is the second part of the haul. So this is a Gen 4 2TB Crucial T500. I managed to get these at a really good price over there in Japan. So as you know, this is one of the most popular NVMe's for the performance and because it already has a heatsink included. So this 2TB drive is going to serve as the game drive for my mini rig. For my sub rig, now that we're going to be installing this 5070 Ti. So I'm gonna go ahead, drop this bad boy in the PCIe Gen 4 slot of NVMe, and we're gonna drop in the 5070 Ti and start to test. So let's go do that. Man, this NVMe is insanely sexy by itself, dude. Like, it just goes in, it has its own heatsink, stays fine. Like, this is really, like, I can understand why they call it pro. Like, it feels rugged, man. This thing is not gonna get hot at all. So I'm sure we're gonna get some really good performance for some of those games that like to load a lot of data like stupid. So yeah, this sub rig is gonna it's gonna become really brutal once we drop in the 5070 Ti, dude. And there it is. That's the complete build with the new 5070 Ti instead of the 6900 XT. And man, she is slim. She's long, but she's quite slim. And I do not see any way at all how this could ever sag. The 6900 XT actually did have some sagging issues, but these Gaming Pro S, I do not see in any way, shape, or form how it could ever sag, man. They are really well designed. I really like it, man. It's slim, but it's like, it's long, and I hope I'm gonna get some really good cooling performance out of it because I really like the form factor, man. Just having thin cards make me psychologically feel better because I could put something over here like a capture card or something, and I wouldn't have a big issue fitting it in. So I'm gonna just plug in the adapter and we're gonna boot up the PC, install the drivers, etc., and try to see how she performs. So I'm excited, guys. This is, what a beautiful card, my man. This card is quite beautiful. Now, I really like the slim one, if I had to be honest with you. It just, damn, it looks awesome. So here it is with the official adapter. Unfortunately, I didn't hear a click, but it's in there, man. Now, here is one complaint I'm gonna have to give to the card, which is that the BIOS switch, I wish the switch would be somewhere over here, but it's inside. I don't know if you can see it here. So it's over there, and I cannot reach it, my man. Like, there's no way. So if I really wanted to reach that BIOS switch, I would need some really small thing to nudge it. Maybe a SIM card ejector or something, because it's really in there. So it's not very compatible with air cooling. In a certain sense, it's not a huge deal because the card is so small. I can take it out and pop it and put it in. It's not a big deal. But I don't like that they could have just put it or over here. Just make it a little bit far away from the cooler. But it is what it is. If I was water cooling my CPU, this wouldn't be an issue at all, right? Anyway, let's put it back together and test the computer. Oh yeah, boys, it has arrived. Shoutouts to Sonic for actually making these. So this cable right here is going to let me to just have a native, 12 VH power connector from my Seasonic Focus. So I'm gonna get rid of the NVIDIA adapter, especially because I flashed the BIOS on my 5070 Ti now. So, since the adapter only has two 8-pins on it, I don't want to push it too far. I would rather have like a native connector which can do up to the full 600 watts. And I feel like I just don't want to have any potential risks, and just give it the full blood 12 VH power connector. And it will also make the build quite a bit neater, even though it's neat enough as it is. But now I can finally just give it the juice directly from the source without having this octopus thing. So we're gonna go ahead and install the Seasonic, the official cable, and yeah, we're gonna get back to testing the card. God damn, now I finally start to understand why people buy braided cables. So this Seasonic cable is braided, and it's very soft and very easy to just get it to where you want to. So there it is. We have the full 12B, what is it called? 12BH power. Well, 12B 2x6 connector, fully seated, the official Seasonic one. So I'm not gonna be power starving the 5070 Ti, even with the BIOS flashes. I'm just probably the dual 8-pin adapter has no problem supplying enough power to it. But in my experience, even my 6900 XT was using triple 8-pins, right? So I don't want to take any chances. I just want the card to be supplied the full power that it needs, and this is perfect for that. I don't need to worry about it anymore. And I'm really happy that that Seasonic actually makes these cables available for their own power supplies. Like I have no complaints about Seasonic and their products. They really take care of their customers in terms of the quality and everything. I would really like to have a full braided set, because goddamn, oh, these are so nice to build in. So I also start to understand why NVIDIA has gone the way of the single cable now, because the build is so clean like this. It's super clean. You only have a single cable and everything is done. So I'm pretty happy with it. So now that I have hooked everything up the way I wanted it, I'm just gonna go back to testing the card. So let's go do that. All right, boys, so she is in. We are now using the flashed BIOS, and we have the new 12VH power connector directly from Seasonic installed. So this is more or less trial by fire. This is going to be the max OC state of the card. So let me show you over here what my settings are. So let me see if I can pull them up. So as you can see, we have 106% on the power draw. So we're going to be doing 320 watts plus 365 megahertz on the core clock, and plus 1750 on the memory clock. Unfortunately, my card seems to be a bit of a dud. I cannot get the core clock to go any higher. I tried 400 megahertz, but I had a bit of instability. But it is also true that my current my current memory setup is not exactly ideal. I actually found I probably need to replace the memory sticks with some better ones. Remember, I built this rig. This is my sub rig, so I'm not using my main components. So just now, knowing that we are in the RAM apocalypse, I just ordered a brand new kit of really nice Samsung B-die, which I'm going to be tuning and setting up. So I'm definitely going to be rerunning these tests once I get that B-die on the system. So we're going to start with Final Fantasy 15 at 4K high quality, full screen, of course. Now, there is something I want to mention about this specific benchmark, and it is that if you enable high quality, it actually not only turns up the texture quality, but it also enables all the NVIDIA features. So, for example, if you test an AMD card in high quality, they get absolutely decimated due to Hairworks and Turfworks and all of those other works. You know, all the NVIDIA features really decimate the AMD cards. Of course, there is no DLSS, so this is high quality. So it is high settings, 4K native, right? So let's start the benchmark and see how she pulls off the benchmark. Okay, so we are running the Final Fantasy 15 benchmark now, 4K high settings. Everything is on native, and you can see here with the NVIDIA overlay that she's comfortably pulling 300 watts flat, and it actually goes a little bit over. And this is the reason I wanted to flash the 320 watt BIOS onto this card. Of course, ideally, I would flash maybe a 350 or 400 watt BIOS, but I get the feeling that 320 watts is more or less good enough to keep the core clock from, dancing all over the place. And it seems to be mostly stable at 3.2 gigahertz all the way through. And when she needs the extra power, she'll just pull it. Now, of course, you're going to notice in my 1% lows, maybe they're not as high as they could be because I need to get that VDI kit coming. This is just some Hynix memory I had from really previous builds. So I'm going to drop in some new VDI and tune it to the lowest latency possible because she really deserves, like the 5070 Ti really deserves that level of performance. It's basically same as my 4090, just BDI, and although this is a locked CPU, so it's not going to be as fast anyway, but either way, I want to minimize the latency as much as possible. But yeah, I mean, to be honest, this is one of the games I really love to test over and over again because it is very consistent in the way it performs, and it really reveals more or less the true hierarchy of cards as you go down the stack. And actually this game specifically, getting it to run over 60 FPS at 4K high settings was already a challenge. I remember maybe even the 2080 Ti had difficulties with that, and the first time I was able to see it at 4K over 60 FPS was when I got the Radeon 6800, and it could more or less do like 90 FPS. Like it would be like 9,000 in this score, 9,000 or 90,000, 9,000, sorry, 9,000 or 10,000, right? Which is equivalent to like 90 FPS or 100 FPS. That's more or less what the 6800 would do, maybe. Or was it 7,000? I forget, actually. No. The 6800. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm getting confused. The 6800 could do about 7,000 to 8,000 on normal settings. It was not high settings, on normal settings. So, the performance the 5070 Ti is putting here at native 4K high settings, everything cranked in 15 is absolutely amazing. Like, this game is hard to run, man. This game is really hard to run. So it is actually quite impressive to me that the 5070 Ti can do this. So I'm gonna wait until the score comes, and I'm gonna talk a little bit more. So let's wait until the score comes. All right, guys. So we're coming up just about the end of the run, and you have to admit this is absolutely impressive performance. Look at this. Oh, the beauty of the Ignis cooking is amazing. So we get about 12,208. 12,208, so about 122 FPS average, which is absolutely ridiculous for a 70 Ti class card. And I'm gonna leave the score right here, and we're gonna compare it to some of the scores I have saved previously. So let me bring them up. All right, so we have a wall of results right here, and let me try to contextualize all of these. So these are the scores of all the NVIDIA cards I've owned ever since I started switching to NVIDIA. And I started to document the scores of the cards I got. So let me start with the first one. So this is the 3060 12 gigabyte. So if you were running the benchmark at 1080p high quality, you'll be getting about 9,000 points, which is like a 90 FPS average. So if you think about it, the 5070 Ti at 4K is 30% faster than what a 3060 can do at 1080p, which is absolutely fucking crazy. It's crazy, man. It's absolutely crazy. So this thing is drawing 4 times the number of pixels, 30% faster, with more complexity than the 3060 could, which is absolutely insane to me. Of course, if you want to go 4K with a 3060, you can only pull about 40 FPS average. So the 5070 Ti is 3 times faster, right? Just 3 times faster, straight up. Now, here is an interesting one, which is, this is my 4090. So this is my RTX 4090. You can see it right here, 4090. It's running in the same exact CPU. This is the same CPU, same motherboard combo, same memory combo. So this is exactly the same system. Now, let me sort of contextualize a little bit about my 4090. So my 4090 is heavily undervolted. I actually undervolted it to 2500 megahertz at, I believe, 0.95 millivolts. So she's, when she's running like this, she's usually pulling about 250 watts at peak. Like, it doesn't go over 250 watts. And the reason I'm running it like that is because I have her on a relatively small form factor build, right? It's a very small build. Like, compared to this thing, like, this thing is big. This is a big case. My 4090 is in a quite small case compared to this one. This is a big case. So this is the reason why I run my 4090 undervolted, and she runs very cool. Usually the fans don't even turn on because it has like the vapor chamber and stuff. So in that heavily undervolted setting, and of course with a little bit of CPU bottleneck, definitely, I'm pulling about 12,751 points. So comparing it to the 5070 Ti, there's honestly not a lot of difference here. And what's surprising to me is that the CPU bottleneck at 4K basically doesn't, like, it's very small in Final Fantasy 15 specifically. Like, there's not a lot of CPU bottleneck. So what's happening here is the 5070 Ti, when overclocked and pulling 320 watts, it can match a heavily undervolted 4090. Of course, this one 250 watts, this one 320 watts. So you pull more power, but dude, you're basically there. It's like not a huge difference with a 4090, which is absolutely crazy to me, coming from a 70 Ti class product from the next generation. So this was a result I really wanted to highlight, which is how close really is the 5070 Ti when overclocked to a 4090, and it's actually not very far apart, which is absolutely insane to me. Of course, if you heavily overclock the 4090, probably you can do 15,000, right? But either way, like 15,000 on a 4090, you get 12,000 on a 5070 Ti. This thing, you can get it for $700. That's crazy to me, dude. That's absolutely crazy to me, dude. And absolutely good value coming from NVIDIA. Let's go to the next benchmark. Alright guys, so this is the next game. So this is Monster Hunter Wilds. We're going to test it at 1440p. And we're going to be using just regular ultra settings. So I'm just going to choose the ultra preset and we're going to see how she does. And Of course, I think the Ultra preset enables DLSS at quality, but this is DLSS 4, so it looks really good to my eyes. And um, unfortunately for this game, I'm quite a bit CPU bottlenecked, as you can see over there. And probably I can get some better performance once I switch over to the Samsung B-Die kit that I have acquired just recently. So I'll probably rerun the tests once I put in the B-Die kit. So we're just gonna run the benchmark and see how she does at 1440p with my old Hynix kit and see the results. But so far, pretty good. And you can see how efficient this architecture is already. Like, we're not even pulling 250 watts, and it's doing pretty well, I think. Like, this is one of the harder games to run, actually. I don't know about the recent patches because I don't actually have the game. I just like to run the benchmark because it's very good at measuring the performance of the CPU specifically. Um, I'm guessing that the game itself has been patched to get better performance over time, but the benchmark is more or less the same as the day it came out. Like the benchmark has not been patched at all. So this would be the performance you would get on day one of Monster Hunter Wilds. So this is more or less the worst case scenario is what I want to say. So I'm gonna let the benchmark run and I'm gonna come back once I get the results. So let's wait for that. By the way, if anyone is curious about the noise, like, she is a very quiet card. Of course, it's not being pushed right now. It's about 60 degrees. Let me see. Like, it's about 60 degrees right there, right? 63. So she's chilling, she's chilling. Of course, part of the problem is my 12700 in Monster Hunter Wilds cannot feed 100% of the card. We're about 80% there or 90% there, but it's pretty much feeding it really well, I would say. And she's pretty quiet for a basically a dual slot card. That's crazy, dude. And she's putting in some very nice performance, actually. So we're gonna let it run and then come back, okay? All right, so we finished the benchmark run, and this is more or less the score I can get at this moment in time with the 5070 Ti. So it's about 32,000. There's no frame generation here, and of course, I'm sure I can get a much better result if I was not severely CPU bottlenecked. So the problem with the CPU bottleneck right now is I need to really start using VDI because otherwise this is the best I can do on Hynix. My latency is quite high. I think I'm in the 58 or 59 nanoseconds at the moment. If I can get it down to 50, I'm pretty sure we can at least get like 100 or 110, hopefully 105. So about an extra 10 FPS if I had to guess, which is actually pretty good. Considering this game is optimized like absolute butt cheeks. So yeah, that's a pretty good result. There's no frame generation here, nothing strange, just pure, rasterization. So let's go to the next game. All right, guys, so this is Resident Evil 4. We are running 1440p. And we are running the same settings I have been running in all my other videos. So 100% resolution scale, normal rendering mode this time, not interlaced since we are in 1440p, FXAA, TAA, everything on high for the textures, high mesh quality, high shadows, shadow cache, etc. Ambient occlusion is off. So this is more or less the same settings I always use for all the benchmarks I do of this game, and basically trying to optimize between really good really good visual quality and performance, right? So this is the way I actually play the game. So you guys already know, for the guys who have been here in the channel, watching the channel, you already know that we like to test chapter 4 or chapter 5, I guess, which is when you get Ashley for you break Ashley out of the captivity, and you have to take her back through the village. So this is actually the single point in time in the game where the entire first village part of the town is completely open, so it is semi-open world, and this is actually the heaviest part to run in the entire game. Usually this is absolute hell on the CPU. So let me go to the spot where we have to go, and then we are going to check the FPS numbers over there. So let me move over there, and I'll start to record again because I'm one-handed this time. Alright guys, so this is more or less the most intensive part in the entire game in Resident Evil 4. This specific spot in the village, which is the center connecting everything. It's full of particle effects everywhere, and it's connecting several parts of the world. And of course here we're again CPU bottlenecked, unfortunately. So we're at 144 hertz, 120 in the lows. And it's absolutely brutal. Like, no reviewer ever tests this part of the game. And when you use the scope, it becomes even tougher to run. So let me try to show you here. We're going to use the scope here. You can see we go to 100 FPS with 80 on the lows. So this is the hardest part of the game. You use the scope right in this window. It's always the hardest part to run in the game. And yeah, I mean, of course, seems to be pushing my CPU more than the GPU, of course. But I think overall, like for the hardest part to run in the game, she is doing pretty well. And even if you whip the mouse, right, is like she is doing well. She is doing well. So pretty good, I think, the 5070 Ti. Now, if I could test it in 4K, maybe I can do image quality, I guess, like 150%. That will be like 4K. It's like a 4K simulation. And okay, now we're pushing the GPU. You can see it's even pushing 320 watts. And we're still doing like 130 FPS. Jesus Christ, man. This GPU is an absolute monster. It's a monster GPU. This is with the scope on. With the scope enabled. Let me try to show it to you. So with the scope enabled, we're doing still like 180 in the lows. Still CPU bottleneck, right? So this is more or less the best my 12700 can do, but you can really see the 5070 Ti can do like 120 FPS, no problems, in Resident Evil 4, 4K native, right? In really good settings too. That's crazy, dude. That and this is the heaviest part to run in the game. Graphics wise and CPU wise, this is the hardest part of to run in the entire game. So she's doing really fine, and you can see we're really making use of the entire TDP at the moment in 4K. So now that we are pushing it to max TDP with 150% resolution scale, which I'm starting to guess this is actually higher than 4K. Let me see, 1440p, 150%. You have 50% extra resolution. I think this is harder to run than 4K. Maybe this is 5K. I don't know. But this is more or less the noise you can expect from the card at full tilt. It's not noisy at all. It's not noisy at all. It's fine. And I checked, so this is at top tilt, right? So this is running already with the 320 watt BIOS, right? So this is full tilt, dude. This is full TDP at the moment. And you can see it stays about 73, 72 degrees. And the good news is the memory junction also stays at around 72 to 73. So whatever Palette did this for the Slim Gaming Pros, these little cards, is absolutely amazing. They are really good at cooling 320 watts. Like she can do it no problems, man. Look at this. It's so slim too. Like I will never be not impressed at how slim the card is and how well it can handle heat. Like she is amazing, dude. She is absolutely amazing. Like that's pretty good. And yeah, that is 150% resolution scale, right? So this should be probably higher than 4K if I had to guess. Should be definitely higher than 4K. She can handle it just fine, man. Of course, 100%, no problems. So, yeah, this is the noise test, right? No problems at all, dude. She is great. She is absolutely amazing. All right, guys. So this is the last test. So this is a game I'm playing right now. This is Jedi Survivor. So we are running it at 1440p, all epic settings. We have DLSS set to quality, and we have DLSS frame generation twice, so 2 times frame generation. This is more or less the way I play it, right? So I just want to show you the experience I get when I play it. So this is going to be a bit finicky because I have to do this one-handed, which is a bit tricky. But I just want to tell you that she runs pretty well. Like she runs really well in Jedi Survivor. So you can see here we have about 160 FPS with 130 in the lows, and of course the GPU is not being pushed that much. Now the thing about this game is that you can actually enable ray tracing and set it to like epic settings in ray tracing. The problem with that is that the game is, is a bit finicky when it comes to the ray tracing, and when you turn it on, like when you turn on ray tracing in this game, it can be prone to crashing. Like it can really start to crash quite a bit. So let me try to see if I can capture more of the frame rate and less of my running. Fight some chickens or something. So the only problem with this game is it does have some asset loading stutter. You can probably see it every once in a while. It tends to be not as perceptible as it appears in the FPS graph. At least in practice, I at least I'm not able to perceive the 1% lows jumping that badly as it would seem in the graph. So I don't know what's the reason. I'm guessing the algorithm for measuring the 1% lows with frame generation is not exactly perfect. So let me see if I can make that jump. Holy shit. Controlling a game with one hand is really tough, man. Okay, here we go. And double jump and go. Okay, well, I didn't make the gap, but yeah, I like the gaming experience on Jedi Survivor has been pretty stellar so far. My only complaint is the crashing when you put on ray tracing. I don't like that crashing. I don't know what that crashing is about. But the game looks amazing. It runs amazing. It's perfectly playable. I'm really having a great time with Jedi Survivor. I'm not sure if it can do 4K, how well it can do 4K. I would change the settings, but let me show you. Like if you change the settings from the game and you don't restart, it does some really finicky crap. Oh, I cannot set it to 4K, unfortunately. So this is one of the games I cannot set it to 4K. So like this game, if you change the settings from the menu, it does some really weird crap, and they sort of don't apply correctly or something. Uh, it's hard to say, but the game, I mean, for me, the game runs perfectly fine. I have been enjoying it quite a bit. The only thing I don't like is the crashing when it comes to ray tracing. And even when you play it a long time, like you play for like 5 or 6 hours, I do get some crashing, which I guess is due to some sort of memory leak or something. I have no idea. But, other than that, I mean, the game works pretty stellar, man. It works pretty stellar for me. So yeah, those are the games I more or less care about at the moment. Jedi Survivor is one I am actually playing myself, and the experience has been pretty much stellar on the 70 Ti, except for the ray tracing. But I think the ray tracing crashing the game is a well-known issue. So anyway, you do what you will with that information. So yeah, pretty nice card, very silent. I'm going to test it again with my new kit of B-Die, which is actually right here on the table. This is my new kit of B-Die. It's a pair of G-Skills. I just picked it up. We're going to go ahead and test the card. Once again, once I get this B-Die up and running in the system and properly tuned. So, yeah, keep an eye out for that. We're going to go ahead and test it with some V-Die again. So, and we're probably going to do some 1080p testing, by the way, once I get the V-Die up and running on this 12700 rig. So, thank you so much, you guys, for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Talk to you later.